Monday, the club announced the retention of some players, re-signing James and Olave to a new contract. What was behind that decision, and what kind of things do you hope to see from him in 2016?
A lot goes into any decision, but with James in particular, I felt that the first half of the season, he did pick up an injury, but even without the injury, I felt he played a little uninspired. He and I sat down about halfway through the season and talked about it during his injury that, I didn't feel that his performances warranted a new contract at the time and really warranted the attention that I felt he should gain and gather if he's performing to his best. And to Jameson's credit, I feel like the last 10 games of the season, he really proved that he's has the durability and the ability to continue to play. Further on into the decision, I have to evaluate, we have Champions League right at the beginning of the year. And, Chris Schuler has had a surgery. He's supposed to be getting healthy right around the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that we have the right players to put on the field for those Champions League games that are extremely important to our club.
You mentioned Chris Schuler. He's a guy who right now is out of contract, one of 3 guys from last year's team. What can you say about him, Luis Silva, Luis Gil, and if there's still a desire to bring those guys back into the fold next year? What kind of things play into those decisions and the processes at this point?
Yeah, anytime a player goes out of contract, inevitably the first conversation you're always going to have is finances. Mm-hmm. We have to reevaluate the player's performance versus their potential and match that up with the financial. It's fair to say we're having discussions with all of their representation. I think that it'll be very difficult and highly improbable to retain all 3 of them, just due to the dynamics of contracts. I believe that a few of them would have to take less money in order to stay, and then weigh their options. Because mm-hmm. Let's be fair, they're all good enough to have options. So we don't have any solid answers on Chris Schuler and Luis Gil yet, but Luis Silva, I knew when we traded for him there's a risk of the interest level from Mexico superseding financially what we can provide in MLS, and it looks like Luis is going to have some great opportunities to go pursue in Mexico.
And the 4 players whose options were not picked up, Fanuel Cavita, DeMar Phillips, Elias Vasquez, and Pekka. What's the decision like on putting those guys out of option?
With Fanuel, we're already in the midst of discussing his future with us and trying to establish that it is with us. He's a good young player. He's just a fantastic human being. Elias, we obviously brought here believing he could be the number 3 center back, the number 3 choice. And over the course of the season, we felt that Aaron Mond really proved to be that number 3 choice. And for much of the season with the injuries we sustained, a starter. And so that decision came down more to we felt that Aaron Mond deserved the credit for what he did this year, and it kind of makes the decision for you. And then DeMar Phillips is an interesting one. We're chatting with him, but he was brought in with high expectations. I obviously really believe in his ability. I believe in his athleticism and what he can bring. Unfortunately, in the year with injuries and international call-ups, he really was only available about half of the games. And only performed in about half of the games, which from a club perspective, it's great to have international players, but we pay them to wear our jersey. Right. And so there's a fine balance of the performances that we get versus their country's team. And so we're discussing with DeMar how we go forward and what the balance is, and if we can strike the right balance where we have the right commitment and performance on our side.
There's a lot of different mechanisms that can bring players in. I guess first, where are you looking to improve this team the most? What kind of areas of the field?
We really like our attacking core. We're looking to add an attacking player from the Monarchs, and hopefully we'll be able to announce that within the next week or two. And that will really strengthen our attacking core. I think you can always be looking for a central striker. Someone who scores 15 goals a year is someone I'll always be interested in. But where we really want to get stronger is we need more depth in our midfield positions. we need stronger depth. We need more consistent performances from our reserves in the midfield, as well as we need to find the balance on that back line. We were too inconsistent at the left back position this year, just from the stance of realistically, we had DeMar and Mansali who more or less split games. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, Tony was over there because we weren't happy with how the performances were going. And then the central defense is obviously a concern.